Hi guys, Blaze here. Welcome to the first anime pickups video for the month of June 2014. This is Naruto Shippuden on DVD. This is box set 16. I have all the way up to 16 now. I got the previous 15 as you've seen quite recently. This takes it over the 200 episode mark, so I've now got 200 episodes plus of Naruto Shippuden to watch. I'm hoping to get into Shippuden quite soon. I've watched like the first, I don't know, 13 episodes or something, but then I stopped. But that was after I'd watched like a ton of basically all the filler for the original Naruto I watched, and then I watched the first 13 of Shippuden, and I was kind of drained on Naruto for the time being. But I'll get into it eventually. I saw this going cheap, so I had to pick it up to. So the second I see any of the more the volumes I need going cheap, I want to get them because I don't want to fall behind now that I've caught up, sort of thing. So I think I'm like 2 volumes behind with volume 19 on the way. Like, it's not come out yet, so only 3 volumes behind, so I might try and get those sooner rather than later so I'm all caught up. But yeah, Shippuden, box set 16. Next up we have from ADV Films, this is Battle Angel, otherwise known as Battle Angel Alita. It's a early 90s OVA, like 2-episode OVA, based on a pretty long-running and popular manga series or graphic novel type series, like in the same sort of vein as Akira and all that. It's long been rumoured, in fact, that James Cameron was going to make a movie of this, but that's never happened, unfortunately, because it might be quite cool, because this is a pretty cool OVA. I haven't watched the DVD version I've got here, but I watched it, I don't know, about 2 years ago, and it's a pretty awesome story, pretty awesome, like, cyberpunk type stuff going on. It's pretty good. For what it is. I mean, it's only 2 episodes, and it's 2 episodes of a much longer story, as it were, like a mini adaptation of such. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a full-blown movie of this at some point from James Cameron. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, it's a pretty cool OVA. Happy to have it. It's not like manga entertainment style with a terrible dub or anything. I mean, it's not the greatest of dubs, but it's not swearing all over the place. It doesn't have that either, depends on how you look at it, charming or non-charming feature. I tend to find the swearing quite charming in a weird way. It's kind of like as if it's trying too hard to be cool, and yet it kind of succeeds at being cool in a weird way because it's so freaking funny. But anyway, yeah, Battle Angel Alita on DVD from ADV Films. Next we have the original OVA series for Oh My Goddess. There's obviously spawned like a couple of TV series and a movie called Ah My Goddess. But this is the original OVA from early 90s, I can't remember specifically when. It's a collector's edition from Animego. This actually goes for a pretty penny now, which is I was fortunate enough to get it. I got this actually a couple of months ago, I just forgot to show it. But it's yeah, it goes for a lot of money nowadays. I got it for significantly less than what it normally goes for. It's not something I would normally have bought, and I did sort of regret buying it in the process, because I've had Oh My God, this season 1 for a long time, I've never watched it, so to go out and spend more money on a franchise that I have never really thought about getting into too much was, you know, probably not the best of idea, even if it's cheaper than normal. But yeah, 5-episode series. It's supposed to be pretty good though. From what I've heard, this is actually kind of okay. You know, well received for the time, sort of in the same vein as Tenchi Muyo and stuff, in terms of what sort of show it is and the popularity from which it made for itself. Because the original Tenchi Muyo is sort of like an OVA thing as well, a very similar vein. But yeah, Animego Collector's Edition. I don't know what the video quality would be like, because I watched Kimaguri Orange Road about a month and a half ago, which is one of the other Animego releases I have, and the video quality was so-so, so I don't know what this will be like. But it has some cool extras on this as well, so I doubt it's going to get re-released anytime soon, although now I've said that it probably will, but yeah, Oh My God, that's the OVA series from Animego. Okay, 5 more things to share, all on Blu-ray. This is Eureka 7, the first Bandai rescue that comes to mind, I think. Pretty sure, like, this is the first one. It's definitely the first Funimation one. This is the Bones one. They haven't done... The Samurai stuff hasn't come out yet, but I'm pretty sure this is like the first major Bandai rescue that's come out, unless you count Gurren Lagann, I guess. But Eureka 7 on Blu-ray. Obviously this is a show that would have been broadcast originally in standard definition, so this is an upscale on Blu-ray, but Eureka 7 is one of my absolute favourite shows, and I was very interested to go back and watch it. I've been wanting to watch it again for a long time, and I've started doing that. You know, trying to do it anyway. The World Cup's taking up a lot of my time, or at least it will be, now that it's got into full swing. But, yeah, I've been trying to go back through to this series, and it's really good. It holds up. I watched it twice before already, but I watched it a long time ago. I think the last time I watched this series was over 5 years ago. Like, it's been a while. But it continues to hold up, and the reason why I was worried it might not is because even though I'd already watched it twice, and 5 years ago isn't really a long time, in my anime viewing, 5 years ago is a massive amount of time in terms I've matured as, you know, a viewer, and in some ways as, you know, my own personal critic of how I view certain shows. Like, things that I once thought were really good, I've realised perhaps were based more on nostalgia more than anything, and there's no doubt that nostalgia is playing a part in why I like Eureka 7, but I feel like the rest of what Eureka 7 has to offer, beyond the fact that it was one of the first shows I saw and I have all the nostalgia for, it's still a show that holds up. It's still a show that is good, great story, really enjoying it. As for the Blu-ray, now, as I said, this is a show that was originally broadcast in standard definition, so it's an upscale. My first experience of watching this show on Blu-ray wasn't good. I received part 2 quite a while ago, like over a month before I got part 1, because I had them both on pre-order, but I had to cancel part 1 due to an order that I had, and I didn't think the money was going to be there. But part 2 had already been shipped, there was nothing I could do about it, but I cancelled part 1 in the meantime. But when part 2 arrived, given that I'd already watched the show, I wanted to check it out. The first episode, which I believe is episode 27, on part 2, was not very good quality. Like, there was lots of gradient, like, video colour banding going on, just where you get like a pure, like, you know, cheap Photoshop looking gradient of colour, you know, light blue, darker blue, darker blue, darker blue. It does still appear in the show, bits of places, but it was very apparent in that first episode on part 2, and there was also like a lot of digital noise and artifacting in some of the guys' clothing, and I was really disappointed, and I felt like, well, this is an upscale, it is meant to be on Blu-ray, but it looks really bad. Like, yes, it's an upscale, it's not going to look amazing is what I kind of meant, but it's, yeah, it's not, it didn't look very good. But now that I've started watching it from the beginning, I'm actually very impressed with how this show looks, given that it's an upscale. It, I don't know, like, there's a part of me that when I'm watching it, I kind of forget that it's an upscale. Sometimes I'm thinking, this looks really amazing. I don't know what they did. Like, well, I know some of the things they did. They added a really subtle digital film grain, which I feel like that might cover up some of what might be digital noise in the background. Like this, it gives it like this more textured feel and makes it feel perhaps it's like tricking you, I think. Yes, it's got like this digital film grain look, but the line detail is really clear, especially in, like, it can get soft in places, like, no doubt, like there's some definite shots, especially some of the ones that you know, that like quite not close up of people's faces or whatever, like when you're seeing something from really far away, there's definitely, it can look soft, the detail's not really there. But when you've got like a character who's, you know, their face is on the screen, all the detail is there, there's like very little bad like artifacting or video banding or anything like that. It looks really good, so if you don't already own Eureka 7, you should do so, because it's a great series. Bones and Mecha is like peanut butter and jelly. It's a perfect combination. Like, Sunrise might be known as the Mecha studio, because they pretty much invented the genre in some ways. They invented giant robots, but they kind of did the mecha way of doing Gundam, basically. But I feel like Bones do it better than anybody else, and they do it less frequently. But all the ones I've watched by Bones have been superb, and Eureka 7 is probably my favourite. Great series. and it's worth getting the Blu-ray. I think if you already own the show on DVD, it's worth getting the Blu-ray. 1, it's an absolute bargain. 2, it has like a limited edition box, and it's also still an absolute bargain. And 3, I think the Blu-ray looks really good. I think the HD transfer they've done for it is really great. So Ultra 7 is well worth it, and I've been talking about it for nearly 6 minutes, so let's stop, shall we? And move on to the next thing. Okay, so no surprise, I picked up Attack on Titan, but I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the most awesome releases of the year, and sort of one of the most disappointing. This is one of the most awesome releases of the year because it's Attack on Titan. And Attack on Titan is one of the best shows ever made. It has the potential to keep on becoming one of the greatest shows ever when eventual new seasons start to come out. Whenever that may be. Probably late 2015 at the earliest now, I think. But yeah, Attack on Titan, one of the greatest shows ever. I remember when Funimation announced that they were going to do some special limited editions for shows Kami-sama Kiss and Psycho Pass, and I know I'm not alone on this. A lot of people on the forum that I frequent, which is Fandom Post, I know there's a few of my viewers that know me from there, and I know them from there as well. Yeah, a lot of us on there immediately started to think about, imagine what they'll do with Attack on Titan. That's going to be amazing. I can't wait. What they've ended up doing is really disappointing. Like, really disappointing. They did a digibook. For the limited edition, you can still buy the show standard with the normal slipcase or whatever. But the limited edition, well, I'll talk about the collector's edition in a minute, because they did 3 versions. But this is the normal limited edition, you know, this is the equivalent, the same equivalent as, you know, the standard limited edition box that Funimation are known for now. This is the version for Attack on Titan. This is part 1, so there's no box. That's the first thing that's disappointing. People were hopeful they're going to make a box for part 2, which will hold both digibooks. There's a possible chance of that, but I very much doubt it, honestly. But the idea was, I suppose, to make this really special, like do something out of the ordinary, which I think they did for Psycho Pass. You know, like, no doubt Psycho Pass had its issues, you know, being released with the box and all that. Like, 100% that was a bit of a disaster. But I think, like, if it wasn't a disaster, the Psycho Pass set is really nice. Like, what they had envisioned to do was really cool. For me, they messed up this Attack on Titan one. Like, when I first received this digibook, it was smashed to bits. Now, that's obviously to do with shipping, but it's also because, like, all the plastic is obviously exposed on the top. I just don't like digibooks, and I really don't know why they've gone through the effort of doing it for this release, because it's just really disappointing. There's a lenticular cover, and this is really disappointing as well. It's cool that we have a lenticular cover. I really like them, they're really awesome. I wish more limited editions had them. But this is kind of... It's so difficult to word this without coming off like as just ungrateful or something ridiculous, but you pay money, so I shouldn't really worry about that too much. But there's no... all this is a depth effect. There is no animation whatsoever. It's just depth. So what I mean by that, if you really can't understand that, is it's just 3D. Like, Aaron's here, and there's clearly depth between him and the houses in the background or whatever. But that's it, like, no animation, nothing moves. It's just depth. That is really disappointing. You know, it's cool to have a 3D effect, but you can't, there's no use for this. Like, it's the same as the front cover, you could, but it doesn't, obviously, it's not on the front cover, you just kind of slide it in the middle and that's it. That's not really that great. And then you open it up, and the digibook portion, Notes from Beyond the Wall, I thought this was going to be really cool, because obviously the notes thing is quite a key component of the show in some ways, and not, I guess not really, but yeah, the episode breakers or whatever, the ad breakers always used to have information, and there's you know, it's a nice little book, I guess, but it's not massively epic, honestly. It's just lots of character profiles, some shorts that haven't even been translated. Or have they? No, they have. So, yeah, they have been translated. so I guess that's okay. But these are essentially just the mini episodes that shorts. I think the 4-panel theatre stuff. I'm pretty sure this is like on the as extras on the disc. I don't know. Like, this book is pretty small and it contains relatively standard stuff. You know, character profiles. There's no interviews with the cast. There's no interviews with the director. You know, the last digibook that Funimation did was for Full Metal Alchemist, Conqueror Shambhala, and that had a massive book on the inside, a bunch of postcards. The digibook was better quality than this, in my opinion, and it also, you know, had the book on the inside was huge and had tons and tons and tons of information. Other problems with this, the description for stuff on the discs is under these trays. And other complaints people have been having, I've been rather fortunate in this case, but lots of people have had discs arrive scratched, including Blu-rays, not just DVDs. You know, Blu-rays are not, they can get scratched, and as long as it's not really bad, they should be okay, but DVDs obviously a bit more fragile in that case. You know, discs being laid on top of each other wouldn't normally happen in a standard Blu-ray case. It's just, and this was more expensive than a standard limited edition by the tune of about $20 or about just over 10 quid. So it's like, this is the standard limited edition, whatever, and this was like really cheap compared to the normal limited edition. It just shows you how cheap these boxes are for Funimation to make. And this is like the limited edition, whatever. Okay. And then there's the collector's edition. The collector's edition is exactly the same as this, but it came with an envelope with some key rings that you can actually buy separately anyway. It didn't even come with like a big collector's edition box. I'm glad I didn't waste my money on that. Bottom line, Attack on Titan, one of the best shows ever. Funimation, they have really dropped the ball recently. Psycho Pass was a disaster in terms of how it was released, and the video quality is a disaster as well. But fortunately, the show is amazing. This is the sad thing. Attack on Titan, same thing. Limited edition, in my opinion, is a complete disaster. This just does not feel special to me. It feels cheap in comparison. Like, when will the companies just understand that if you want to release a collector's edition that will make every single fan happy who like buying collector's edition, make it in a chipboard box. If you make a chipboard art box, every collector will always be happy. Always. Simple as that. On a completely different note, we have The Familiar of Zero. I had the Geneon DVD release for this in the art box. I sold that, cashed in on that. Before Sentai even actually announced that they were finally going to get the remaining 3 seasons of Familiar of Zero they needed, because they licensed Series 4 like 2 years ago, and then they didn't release it because they were going to wait until they got the other seasons. So far they've only announced that they've got Season 1 as well, but NVM in the UK have announced that they've got Seasons 1, 2 and 3, so there's no doubt in my mind that Sentai are going to probably announce 2 and 3. They're probably just dubbing them at the moment, because I imagine they will dub them. So, because I think the show will sell good enough. I mean, I've watched the show before. I kind of thought it was okay. It sort of had a bit of the Slayers in terms of its setting. The ecchi stuff, I go on quite the rant about the word panties on a mini little podcast that me and Rock God Itachi did back in the day. So yeah, I certainly had frustrations with this show, so I wasn't overly excited to go back to it, but I remember that it wasn't all bad, and there's sort of potential, I guess, to maybe it was okay, and this was a cheap Blu-ray version of it, so I decided to pick it up. So yeah, Familiar Zero, like, I'm not a huge fan, but I was enough of a fan and this was at the right price, so picked it up, and I'll probably pick up the remaining seasons as well. So yeah, Familiar Zero. Okay, penultimately we have another NIS Premium Edition. This is I want to try and say this. Naruto Crawling with Love. Naruto. That's about the only way I could feel that you could pronounce that. So yeah, Naruto Crawling with Love. This is, I had 4 NIS Premium Editions I needed to get to finally catch up. I realised I'd started to fall behind again after getting so close, so I said, nope, we're going to do this, we're going to buy them now, because otherwise they'll just keep adding more and more and more, and I'll keep falling behind more and more. So yeah, it's sort of like a labour of love, this NIS America collection. Like, I really love what they do and I like supporting them as a company and stuff, but there's also this other side of me that's like, this is a very expensive hobby. And yeah, this is a pretty expensive decision and it's really hard to stick with it. Because I like variety, I like buying lots of different things. I don't like dedicating myself to one company has proven really difficult, so that's why NIS is my only choice. I couldn't do it for any other companies, there's no way I could buy everything they put out. Not that you really need to, obviously, but yeah, I watched the shorts for this. There's like 2 mini-series, I think, where each episode's like 3 minutes long. I watched one of them like last year, I think, and thought it was actually quite funny. So I was pretty happy that NIS decided to license the first season of the proper show with like proper 25-minute episodes. Honestly, I feel like this is a show that I'm gonna like. I know lots of people, at least people that I've seen online, didn't rate it so highly, but I feel like this. I feel like this will be the sort of show where I kind of give it a 3.5, basically a 7 out of 10. I feel like that's about where this show is going to be, a solid good. You know, it's not bad, it's not absolutely amazing, it's just good, and good is good enough, obviously. So yeah, Nyako Crawling with Love. I'll talk about more NIS stuff for the next pickup, shall I? So we'll move on to that. Okay, so last but certainly not least, we have Working 2. Or Wagnaria 2. So yeah, the original series for this, I thought was a great show. Really funny, cool slice of life show. Some great comedy moments. Yeah, one of NIS's best releases, although they've certainly done some amazing releases since, but it's still kind of right up there in their top licenses, I guess. And it's really awesome they finally got around to this, because this show came out a while ago now, like, in terms of when it was originally broadcast. I think it was like over 2 years ago, if not more, I think, somewhere like that. And then NIS just delayed and delayed and delayed. I think the only reason I can think they did that is so they could definitely get Blu-ray. It is funny how NIS put out shows only on Blu-ray, because they're I'm pretty sure they're the only company that do that. It's kind of weird. It's cool. But they know that the people that buy their releases are kind of the hardcore, like they have Blu-ray, like, sort of thing. But yeah, it's sort of still strange to me. But shows from NIS come out with 0 DVD support at all. Yeah, but this is the. I only need 2 more NIS Premium Editions now, and I've caught up. And the 2 that I need are just 2 movies, like Fuse. Something of Memories, I can't remember, like, well, Fuse is the latest one that come out, and I've still got to get the Princess and the Pilot movie, but then I'll be all caught up. Obviously the next 2 months NIS are putting out 2 shows that are not getting a standard premium edition release. They're getting like much more special ones. They're doing obviously, I'm sure all of you know, they're dubbing Toradora and putting it out on Blu-ray. I'm kind of like surplus on the dub, like whatever, like don't really care. But which is no, like, I like dubs obviously, but it's more like the Japanese original version I watched. I saw the trailer for the dub. Yeah, I might watch the dub at some point probably, but so it's cool they're doing it, but the fact they're doing it on Blu-ray is more important to me at the moment. And they're also going to be obviously putting out Cardcaptor Sakura on Blu-ray, all 70 episodes. I've already sold my DVDs in anticipation of that. That's going to be awesome. And they've also got the Animax dub, which, you know, it's going to be like a Singaporean or, you know, whatever, like Asian English dub. So it's probably not going to be very good, but it's a dub for all of the uncut version of Cardcaptor Sakura rather than the Cardcaptors version. So that's really cool, in my opinion. They went out their way to get that. I feel like that was certainly worth their time. Like, it's one of the first times I think anyone's used an Animax dub recently. Like, there's quite a few out there for shows that not a lot of people realise are actually dubbed. But you know, but yeah, Cardcaptor Sakura is one of those shows where, yeah, there is a full English dub for the uncut version, but it's a Asian English version. Anyway, so yeah, that's everything for the first half of June, and yeah, the last part of May, I guess. There was certainly, and with Oh My Goddess, it was like that was in February, I think I picked that up or something, so it was a while ago. I have a really awesome import coming. I kind of splashed the Cardcaptor Sakura money early, and I'll obviously buy Cardcaptor Sakura when it comes out. I've got it on pre-order, but same for Sailor Moon. Like the Sailor Moon and Cardcaptor Sakura sales helped buy this other release, which is really awesome. I know that one person already knows what it is, and anyone who's seen that comment will probably know what it is. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting that. I'm really happy I was able to find one. And yeah, so that's it for the first half of June. I know I've got that import coming. So far as anything else for the rest of June, it's kind of maybe. I really don't know. That there'll be something anyway. But anyway, whatever. This video is already long enough, so I'll see you guys soon.